got 9 minutes maximum, so let's get this show on the road. All right. Hello, my name is Elliot Koritz, and this is a pitch for a reboot of the Netflix series Mindhunter. So, Mindhunter was a 34 to 73 minute crime drama slash psychological thriller uh, on Netflix, I should say. It is based on the book Mindhunter Inside the FBI's Elite Serial Crime Unit, which is an autobiography by former FBI agent John Douglas, who was one of the first agents to develop a criminal database uh, for profiling serial killers. Technically, it has ran for 2 seasons on Netflix, and I say technically because there will be more seasons in the future. Uh, it is announced that the show was on indefinite hold, and I will explain for reasons in a few moments. Season one depicts the evolution of the criminal psychology and profiling in the late 70s, I believe from 1977 to 1980, and then season two covering the Atlanta murders of 1979 to 1981. The show was created by Joe Penhall, who handled the writing of the show, and while the visual style was handled by director David Fincher. Uh, and I bring this up because Fincher was kind of the showrunner on the show. There wasn't really an exact clear cut showrunner. If you know his work, he's very much a micromanager. Uh, and he was starting to feel burnt out by the grind of television, and is moving on to other projects. For now, he did say he wants to come back to it, but when he feels ready, and that's not going to be about for another, I think he said 5 years. So right now, it's not technically canceled, but there's not going to be in the near future any new seasons, like like what The Sopranos did with having like a year in between. So why should it be rebooted? For one thing, it was critically acclaimed. 97% and 98% on Rotten Tomatoes for the first 2 seasons. It did not get many Emmy nominations. If there are, most of it was for technical achievements, but still a very well respected television show. Creatively speaking, the show dove into the minds of real life serial killers and how they think, which eschews society's mental stereotype of serial killers. David Fincher has worked with the whole concept of serial killers in the past with his movies. Seven, for example, and Gone Girl, which really isn't a serial killer movie, but still has to do with murder. Uh, and it compares alongside another show, Criminal Minds, which was more procedural in its methods, and doesn't really get into how serial killers think as much as I say Mindhunter does. Uh, my personal connection for this comes from my own struggles with mental illness. I think a lot of serial killers do struggle with some form of mental illness or childhood trauma that can cause mental illness or anything that's on that spectrum of it. I'm not condoning their actions. I'm not defending them. Uh, what they did is disgusting and vile, but it is interesting of how there are connections there, and also how this connection can be explored through its relationship with law enforcement. Considering that, uh, in my own humble opinion, that police training is not well adequate with handling cases of mental illness. So, all right. So what is going to return? Well, the basics are going to return. The 1 hour ish drama with the single camera format, serialized format of having plot lines follow into the next episode, all the core characters as I call them, and in the main storyline of the ongoing criminal profiling. But what is new is that there will be a new storyline involving Robert Hansen, who was a serial killer in the 80s, and is mentioned in the original book, and chronologically, he is the next killer mentioned. So it just felt logical to use him. And this will be parallel to the Behavioral Science Unit, that's BSU, their ongoing profiling of serial killers. And of course, with the new storyline, will be new supporting characters. As for the details, a movie aesthetic will be used. Fincher, he's known for his movies, Zodiac. Oh, I forgot to mention Zodiac, another serial killer movie he's worked on. Social Network, Girl, Dragon Tattoo. Uh, so he's known for bringing that. The serialized format, detailing the capture of Robert Hansen, and a non-linear style. There's going to be, with the different core characters and their own personal lives and the ongoing criminal profiling. It'll be chopped up and split into different, you know, episodes, I would say. And this will be similar to other crime dramas like Ozark, Narcos, and Bloodline, and then also House of Cards, mostly because that is another David Fincher project that he's worked on, and kind of what led him to doing television. So the core characters are FBI agent, Special Agent Holden Ford, played by Jonathan Groff. He is the patriarch, the intellectual authority of the BSU. He's the one that points out the evidence and details what the next move will be, etc., etc. Then his partner is FBI Special Agent Bill Tench, played by Holt McCallany. He is one of the matriarchs, as you can probably read. The next one's also a matriarch. He is an emotional tone of the show because of his strained relationship with his ex-wife and adopted son Brian. His ex-wife's name is Nancy, and offers a more human side to the FBI agency. Then there's also the psychologist Wendy Carr, played by Anna Torv. She is also a matriarch, but on the flip side of Tench, where she actually copes with her closeted lesbianism. She has not come out as a proud LGBTQ plus person. So the pilot, this is all hypothetical with what I've brought into my mind. This could change at any course. This will pick up 2 years after season 2 in 1983. The 4 storylines. Holden wants to reopen the Atlanta murders case in order to find more killers, but is rejected. You have to watch season 2 to understand that. Bill attempts to reconnect with his separated wife Nancy in order to see his son Brian. Wendy develops symptoms of HIV/AIDS, and it says is develops. That is horrible grammar. I apologize for that. And then of course, Robert Hansen, his unraveling of the killing that he will do. So Holden's storyline is him discussing the reopening with the Atlanta case with BSU director Ted Gunn, played by Michael Cerveris, but is rejected. He flies back to Atlanta to dig for more information, and the stress of it causes a panic attack. Bill's storyline, he'll call Nancy on the phone to reconnect with Brian. No answer. He relocates their house but drives past it without them knowing, and then finally contacts the lawyer to get joint custody. Wendy's storyline, she'll wake up at night during one part of the episode with a sore throat and night sweats. She attempts to meet with an imprisoned serial killer for profiling, but she develops a fever and chills, preventing her from interviewing him or her. And she goes to the doctor and is referred for more testing, leaving it on a cliffhanger. Trigger warning for Hansen's storyline. This can get a little graphic. This takes place on June 13th, 1983. Hansen offers 17-year-old sex worker Cindy Paulson $200 to perform oral sex on him, but he pulls a gun and kidnaps her. He chains Paulson in his basement as he takes a nap. This will almost be with no dialogue. He'll bring her to the Merrill Field Airport after to take her to his cabin. And this will also be a cliffhanger because Paulson will actually escape from his car while he is refueling his plane, and that is where episode 2 will pick up, is her escape. Future episodes, each episode will focus on the BSU interviewing a serial killer alongside developments in their own personal lives, as I said before. This is a common thing in season 1 and 2. Holden's panic attacks will get worse. I should probably say that Bill moving on to dating other women will continue to see his son may change in the future. I'm not so sure about it. And Wendy's HIV diagnosis slowly leaks out into the public. And then the unfolding events of the Robert Hansen case, as the FBI will be called later to help investigate uh, the details in Alaska, I should say. It just takes place. The Hansen case takes place in Alaska. So that is my pitch for the Mindhunter reboot. I hope to take this into consideration and happy viewing. Now end the show, and that is a text message. And how do I stop recording? Oh, I go up here.